Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Customs. We're going to do an experiment. We're going to create Rogue from Age of Apocalypse hair on a Rogue custom statue I'm working on. Now, basically, I never really created hair like this before, and I just kind of want to try to come up with ideas, basically. And a couple of the ideas was I was going to take some pins and bend them forward this way and then sculpt over them, but it wasn't working out too well, and that wasn't working. And I tried just sculpting the Avis and then like cutting it, and that didn't work. And basically, since Rogue on Extreme X-Men, as you can see back there, she's got that stylized hair coming down. I want to follow that, but the problem is when you sculpt, it'll become very brittle. So you basically need to come up with an idea where it's going to actually work. So basically contacted Warren Rossi. His name is Kinetic Cap on YouTube, and he's been getting into stuff. He does a lot of metal work. So I asked him if he could cut me some metal pieces and that are bendable and stuff. So basically the idea came up with was to take a piece of metal like this, and then as you can see, I drew on there with some marker and some metal like that. And I'm going to do the hair going down like that. I got to cut out all the black areas first. And then I'm going to, once I get this on, I'm going to sculpt hair onto that. Do all the hair up there. And then I'm going to do that little bushy white stuff up front. Basically, I came up with this idea is because this is going to be able to secure the hair. So this way, it's not going to be fragile. It's not going to break. So this way, when I put on the Avis and stuff, it's actually secured. So my first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the black. Now I'm not going to cut all the way up. I'm just going to cut out the little divots in here, and then I'm going to sculpt Avis onto this, so it's going to be raised out, but this gives me an idea where I'm going to follow. And then once I do that side a little bit, and I'm going to do it in the inside as well, but I got to do all the inside first, so this way when I put them up and I glue these in, the insides are all done, ready to go, and then I can just work on the outside. So this is pretty much the first time I'm doing this. It's a little bit of a trial and error, so we're gonna just do a whole video on, see how it comes out and see if you guys like it. There might be better ways of doing this. The other sculptors might do different stuff, but this is my way that I'm coming up with, and I'm gonna see if it works, because I really want to try to get that stylist Age of Apocalypse look that was drawn there, as you can see. It's not going to be super baggy, but it's going to be kind of like flat hair and stuff. So, well, we'll see what happens as I get a little bit further, and we'll update the video. Alright guys, so basically we're back, and I did a couple tests. As you can see, what I did is I sculpted some Avis onto the outside of the hair, and the inside's not done yet, of course, but I'm just getting there. It is still a little flimsy with the Avis, so it can snap. There's this stuff called Magic Sculpt. It's like it basically, I think it's called Magic Sculpt. I forget. A friend gave it to me. Basically, it works like Avis, but when it dries, it's very hard to sand. But it's like ceramic. So what I'm gonna do is I have a little bit of it. I'm gonna mix some into the inside, so it really secures this. But the problem is I gotta make sure I do it correctly and it fits. So as you can see, this is where we're getting at so far. You know, it's getting to the style that I want, and I'm kind of liking it. Of course, I'll have to get the right position because I want it up a little bit higher, as you can see. And of course, once it's in there, I'll throw some more up around here and all that stuff. So that's basically where I'm at now, just to give you an idea of how it's working. Working pretty cool, and we'll update as we go. Alright guys, it is the next day, and what I did is in the inside of these I put in the Magic Sculpt. So Magic Sculpt pretty much is really stronger than Avis. It's kind of hard to sand it down, but basically by doing it in the inside, this is pretty secure now. It's not like, you know, flimsy with just Avis and it'll crack. So we're actually at a good position now. Now the problem I run into is if I put the hair up too high, when I go to airbrush, it's going to be very difficult. So if we won't get into the face, so you don't want to go too high with it. I want to go down more so I can actually mask and I can hit it with the airbrush correctly. So basically it goes around the cheeks like that. So I'm going to kind of position them like this in a way, So the next step is you glue them in and everything. But before I do that, I have to make sure everything's sanded and everything's already good before I go any further. It's going to be kind of hard to hit it with the airbrush. But, I mean, in theory, you want to have the hairpiece kind of, you know, like the way Sideshow and all the other companies do it, is they have a separate piece that they glue in after they paint it, and then you're done. And that's why you get those weird gaps, and that's why people don't like it, but that's how you're able to paint them out. But since this is a hand painted by me, and it's not like, you know, where, you know, you got a factory of thousands of them done, it's just one of a kind, so I'll be able to hit it with the airbrush no problem. So I just have to kind of tweak, drill in here a little bit more and get it positioned up. So once I get it positioned up and we're ready to go, we'll glue these in, we'll start doing sculpting on the hair, and I'll be able to show you all that sculpting as I do it with like a faster video. Okay, so I glue the hair pieces onto the Rogue head where I want them. I kind of like the position, how it's kind of flowing and everything, so it's working out pretty cool. You know, we're keeping it, trying to close to that. It's not super flowing, but it's going to work to the point where I'm going to be able to actually airbrush in between and everything, so I can actually get the face and it'll work out. So what I did is I mixed up some Avis, and I'm going to work from the back, get all this around here, and then kind of work my way forward. It's going to be easier that way than trying to do this than that, because I want to try to get the shape of the head going first. So we'll start working on that. Okay, so at this point I did the back of the hair, and I like the way it's working out. It's coming together slowly. On the picture, her edges around here are kind of rounded a little bit, I guess, kind of like swooped down. So I'm going to leave this like that, and then once this dries, I could kind of like sand it down a little bit, kind of just round it off a little bit. Most of the time I would just stop and leave this alone, but because the way this is kind of still soft, I'm going to actually work up all this top up here and over here, so this way I can get all this done in one shot. And then after this dries, come back the next day and I could do the bushy stuff on the front of her forehead. Alright guys, so basically we got the hair done, the main part of it, you know, we got the back and the bangs going. So I'm liking the way it's turning out. It's looking closer and closer to Age of Apocalypse, a Rogue. A little bit stylized. Of course, you can't get it completely perfect like the artwork, but it's getting there. So let this dry for a day or so, and then we'll come back and we'll do the bushy part. Now the bushy part's going to be very difficult because it's going to be very hard to get that look from the artwork. I'm going to have to do some experiments. This red is regular Aves, just regular colored red Aves. There's nothing special about it. I'll probably use Aves Fix It, because Fix It holds its form more, so I could probably get this bushy look a little bit more, and maybe stylize it. I'll try to see if I get it like the artwork. If it doesn't look like I can get it like the artwork, maybe I'll just do my own take on it, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I have to do the Rogue bangs here, and I was kind of stumped. I wanted to figure out how to do it, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I have a little bin here of all these hair pieces from different parts you might recognize, you know, Miss Marvel Sideshow. I have some other stuff here and there. I also had some anime kits. Now, these are old anime kits I got from eBay back when I really started getting into the hobby. So I had some hair pieces here, and I was like, you know what, maybe I can chop these up and use them for the bang. So, let's see if we can show you how I was planning on doing this. Basically, I was going to take this piece, which was a big hair piece. I chopped this off, so I figured I'd throw this somewhere like here. I take this piece, I throw this piece here. And then I have another piece to go over here. Let's see, it's kind of hard. I'm going to hit the camera. But hit the piece like this. So basically, I figured I'd get the bangs looking like that somehow. It's kind of close to the artwork. I'm not going to get exactly looking at it, but at least it'll be bushy and it'll look like bangs going across her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the glue, get these glued on, and then basically you can see it from there after I'm done. It's going to be kind of hard to have the camera in the way and doing all that. So at least if I get these glued on, then I can show you how I'm going to sculpt onto that and kind of bring it all together. So let me get these glued and we'll be back. Alright guys, so basically after some tweaking and some pieces and I glued it on, I didn't like the way it was looking, and then I was playing with it some more. So when I finally figured out what I was going to do is I got this where I wanted to. So when you look at the side, it's pretty cool because the bangs are actually going over there and I like it. And this leaves me freedom up here to do some sculpting and stuff. So basically, I know it looks a little odd now, but once I start sculpting into it, it comes together. So what I got myself some Fix It Avis, and basically I'm going to start sculpting into it. Now because I glued into here, there's some gaps. I'm going to throw some Avis into there so it could kind of set it and hold it the way it worked. Now I can't really go completely perfect like that artwork because it's kind of, you figure I want to work with the bangs going in there and going into the hair, so it's going to be like a little bit of a dip going in with the hair, but I'm going to have some fun with it and sculpt it and see how it looks. But basically the basic shape's there. Alright guys, so I was working on it, and as I was working, I pretty much gave you an idea how I work. I'm pretty much use paintbrushes. As I was doing it and it was working, I just wasn't feeling these two hair pieces on the side. It just wasn't working, and because the way the glue is in there and there's primer on the statue, I was able just to pop them right off. So I popped them off, and I said, you know what, let me just go with the Avis and just go and just push it down. And I feel this is more like realistic for a statue in a way compared to the artwork over there, because even though I would like to have it like that, sometimes if you're not capturing that specific artist's art, it doesn't translate very well into a different type of statue. But I'm trying to make this a little bit more realistic for the statue. So I basically just did, it's kind of hard to do in the video because I need to have the statue close up to me, and it's kind of hard to show people, but at least I gave you an idea. So basically I just took the Avis and I just pushed it around and just, you know, did it. So, because I wanted that feel of when you're looking at the side, it's pretty much, you know, the Rogue from Age of Apocalypse from different artists. Yeah, some artists draw it different ways, but I think this works out pretty cool for the statue, because once it's painted up all in white, I think it'll look pretty cool. But, you know, hopefully you guys like the tutorial, how I came about this. It's just, I never did this before. It was just something I just came up with and said, hey, let's just try it and see what happens. So, you know, basically the next step now is let this sit overnight and prime it up, fine detail it, and then start painting. So hopefully you guys like it. We'll get a video up at the 360 once she's all done. Thanks for watching.